All right. Good morning, everybody. I do hope everybody's well. Doing really, really good out here. Finally, oh, there goes the fan. We're making more power than we can stand. I can't put no more into the floor. Last night I had to have the fan on with the doors open. It got miserably hot in here, or just stagnant. The wind died down. When the wind is blowing and the windows are open upstairs, you can pretty much heat the floor 8 months out of the year. I would assume. I only started this, well, electrically. I started it last October, or I mean with the excess solar. But I've done the same thing before with propane and the wood. Several different combinations is what I'm trying to get at. And you can safely heat the floor, as long as the nights are relatively cool and the wind is blowing. That's the key thing. That wind stops. That it gets unbearable hot too quick. For the radiant heat coming out of the floor, it's just too much. But other than that, doing really good. Is the vacuum? I need to probably do it again. But we've been having like wind after wind after wind. That's just a stain from when I cleaned out the old pipe. Used to go way over here and come back, and I don't know how or why or what, but during certain storms, or what I'm trying, only during the storms, is it would rain back down the thing. There's no cap up on top, no rain cap. So the rain must have just been coming straight down or something. To hit a 6-inch thing enough to make a leak on the floor. That's saying something, is what I'm trying to get at. Because we don't have moisture otherwise. It's like anything that was in that pipe was dry as a crystal bone before any moisture got to it. So I don't know what to say. I got the truck. Well, I didn't. Nothing. My neighbor, we made arrangements for this like last year, but he finally came over and him and his son, and we dropped the tank, and they did, and they swapped out or got the fuel filter or the fuel pump pickup thing put back in. What it was is in the truck, the fuel pump had died. The tank was full of gas, so I took the fuel pump out, and it was running like shit. But I took the fuel pump out, put a new fuel pump in. Is the um, and I was hoping that it would drain the fuel down out of the tank is what I'm trying to get at. Well, the fuel, I could never get the ring to lock in on the Chevy, the top of the gasket, or the top of the ring that goes over the fuel pump pickup. And I couldn't get it to lock down right. And I don't feel bad because it took both of them, like everything they had, to hold it, to push down, to peck it around with the little tool that they had with the hammer and everything, and the little driver pin. It took two of them to do it outside the truck where they're both sitting on top. So do I feel bad that I couldn't get it done, in about 10 inches of space above the frame, but below the flatbed? No, I'm good. No, I don't feel like I was punked at all. I mean, I'm so thankful that they took the tank. We were going to just put the pump back in, add new gas, and go on, but that was kind of the problem to begin with. I think that's probably what killed the pump, or just took that time to die, or whatever. But the gas that was in the tank when they drained it, I bailed it off with a little can into a gas can, and I just for giggles I wanted to see how much oomph it had left in the gas, so I poured some out on a paper towel. It took twice to light it with the lighter before it even would light, and when I tossed it off onto the ground, it went out. So it was like, that was like burning something less than kerosene. I mean, it was pretty bad. It looked like gas. It was clean, not dirty, not colored, not nothing like that. It looked really good, but had a horrible, like varnishy smell to it. And but they were struggling to get the tank back in. One of the straps was backwards, and I'd done this before, so I actually that's where I was gonna say I actually got down on the ground Me and the son, we dropped the tank again because I was telling him it was going to get in a bind, and it did. And so the neighbor was getting tired, is what it is. And up here in the altitude, that's easy to do. A can of soup is like picking up a cinder block. It is not the same as like down at sea level. And not that it's physically more, it's just more exhausting in the low oxygen in the atmosphere. But they were struck, or he was, and he stopped for a minute, and I gladly jumped down there because it was the easy part, just putting it back in. And I already knew the trick, is what I'm trying to say. And we got it out of the way. I turned the strap around, and it just got turned around as they were taking the tank out to begin with. Popped it back in. It went in lickety split, easy enough. Um, and it was good, clean gas when we put it back in. And the look, I don't know how to say it, but people that like to work on vehicles choose Ford for a reason. Not that they're bad vehicles, but they get more opportunity to work on them, is what I'm trying to get at. And that old truck had been sitting out there for 2 years now. And he knew it, I knew it, everybody knew it because it ain't moved, is what I'm trying to get at. And in between, the son wanting to start it up, he had never messed with a clutch. And I said, yeah, that's not a problem. I said, take it out of gear. And he wiggled the stick, and I wasn't paying attention, but there was a lot of slop in the gear shift. The roll pin and the little ball was about wore out. And so when it wiggled, it looked like he goes, this out of gear. I go push on the clutch and turn the key. I said, you got to mash it all the way to the floor because it has two kill switches that won't allow it to start unless the clutch is all the way in and it's out of gear. And he keyed the switch, but then nothing happened like at all. And I said, hold it, do that again. And I was looking up at the overhead light inside the cab light, and it didn't even dim. I said, oh, something's not right. And he hopped out, and I got in, and I just messed with the gear shift out of habit, and it was still in gear. And I said, it was still in gear. I popped it into neutral. Well, it had been turned on and off and on and off enough in that little bit of time when he was trying, and before that, to cycle all the fuel, because everybody was like, oh, that's not going to run with that gas smelling the way it was. Well, it cycled all the fuel out. And when I got in to start it, I keyed the switch and it roared to life. The look on their faces was fucking priceless. It was almost like the awe of little children with a good magic trick. And I don't mean little children condescending or nothing like that, but I mean how most adults are just skeptic. Well, some adults aren't, but just the awe is what I'm trying to, just to see that truck roar to life. First click, it didn't even crank. It just, whoom, it lit up. And that's from a truck sitting 2 years. I don't mean that lightly. I mean, if you want to get into business and you want to dig holes, buy a Caterpillar. It's cheaper in the end run. If you want to get into forestry or farming, or, from pulling a tree to plowing a row, buy John Deere. It's cheaper in the long run. Their other stuff works just as good. Might cost you more, might you have to work on a little bit more, whatever. I'm just saying, for turnkey reliability. And if you don't like working on your fucking vehicles and you just drive them, or you have an ex-wife or somebody who just drove a vehicle, never thought about oil checking or anything like that, and mine really wasn't that bad. Either her dad got her into it, or maybe she just was that way on her own. But she could do that. But I just know that some can't or won't. Choose not to. They just ignore the lights on the deal. It's like a suggestion, the check engine kind of shit. But there's some guys that are like that see the check engine like it's a suggestion. Like, oh, there's nothing wrong. It just says that for no reason. I can almost bet it doesn't say it for no reason. I can almost bet it doesn't. Sometimes computers are computers. They're glitchy. Electric's my thing, y'all. I just enjoy computers, whether it's car computers or whatever. and electric in general, whether it's solar or whatever. I just enjoy all that stuff. Um, it's like plumbing with electrons. That's all. Instead of being wet with water and hydrogen or oxygen and hydrogen, it's plumbing with electrons. It's the same thing. Yeah. Well, like I said, we got the truck done. Um, Still haven't got to test out my sump pumps that I put in outside. I should have tested that right from the get go with fresh water. Um, but I didn't want to waste the water, so I didn't, and I put it in. Um, but if we don't get much like chance of rain in the next little bit, I might pull them out. Um, well, I might pull them out anyways. Finish some of the work that I was going to do out there, and then put it back in. But this is the year for that kind of stuff. A little bit of concrete work. I was trying to con my neighbor and his son into concrete work. I said, I asked them if they knew about it. Oh, I only did one project. It was like, damn. I was really hoping. I said, I'll talk you through it. I'll even buy the mud boots. But, yeah, I'm just teasing. Just teasing. I enjoy knowing what people know, I mean, because I keep like a little mental Rolodex. So if you need help, it's good to call on people that can help you. And that's whether you're paralyzed or not. Just having a good support network around you always helps. And that's just the way it is. Some people get a little bit too, and I don't mean this derogatory, but they try to out Jew a Jew. And I got a lot of friends like that. They go out of their way to be rude. I don't know what else word you put that. You know what I mean? Um, but they understand what a good price is. They understand when somebody's bleeding or when they really need money or they're asking hardly next to nothing. And they got to still twist the fucking knife. That kind of asshole. And I got a lot of people like that, actually. Um, or they want you to do it for free and then they want to charge the world $1 million. And that's like the other half of the people that I know. Um, and so if you all ask me, the reason I just get like to no end with the hemp questions or whatever, that's exactly what it is. They don't even want to pay. They don't even want to give you recognition. They're going to take what you tell them. They're going to just manipulate it and then pretend like they had the idea to begin with, and then roll on and charge people. I'm just tired of working with this whole generation. Um, in the everyone that comes after is worse, literally. Um, I'm just tired of it, y'all. I don't got no more. I did everything I can. Everything that plant can do, it can literally save the planet if y'all choose. That's up to you. If you don't want to, hey, knock yourself out. You only got about 15 years. I mean, uh, that's about it, y'all. And I've said that for a long time now. I said if we ever made it to 20,060, the last X would be like living through Mad Max's Dune kind of deal. I still mean that. Um, but to be honest, I can't see the Thwaites Glacier. Just doing mental modeling. Have I done this on computer? No. Okay. Have I done everything that I've done modeling wise has been in my mind. That's what seeing patterns is about. And I can pretty much match a computer in a lot of ways. I'm not saying I'm as near as good or as near as elaborate or near as in depth, but I'm just saying for picking up initial patterns, yeah, I'm not bad. Not like at all. Um, because computers can have that ability too. And when if you tell a computer what's the, is there a pattern between like COVID and that national vaping pandemic that we had? The mysterious vaping pandemic that was just eating up all the kids and the youth and the teens and everything like that. Well, the irony is 3 months before, couple months before, the vaping pandemic was 3 months before the announcement of COVID. A couple months before the vaping pandemic hit the news is when Fort Detrick released 3 acres of their biological containment. I believe it was under Trump, is what I'm trying to get at. Probably cost cutting measures or whatever like that. And they released the containment, which they had been guarding like the demonic spirits of hell because that's what they created. They had been working on SARS and everything else up there. And then all of a sudden, when they discharged the lake, we get a vaping pandemic. And then from the vaping pandemic that only really affected teenagers for some strange reason, the most susceptible, we got COVID, which didn't happen to affect teenagers so effective is what in the after fact is what I'm trying to get at. It got the weak ones to begin with, but it had the same mortality, the same everything as COVID. See, there's an irony and there's a pattern to that. And can a computer pick it up? Not exactly. That takes a human brain. Is there more like, oh yeah, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of patterns that are like that a computer can't and most people can't either. Like this whole killer whale thing attacking the boats. That's not as surprising or shocking as a lot of people realize. Back in the old days, you would have a gasoline genset on the boat providing the power for the boat, whether it be like a little Lister motor, hit and miss, real slow RPM, 600 RPM. But it would be a genset. Nothing with no interaction with the killer whales. Then we had the old, like the low frequency and the sine wave, even the modified square wave. But we had the old low frequency inverters, and it did affect some, but not a lot when they started making electricity off with the inverter. The second they went to high frequency, it made a radical change, and you can see right on the year when they released high frequency, when it made the marine grade, and when the whales started attacking the boats. That's a pattern that a human can see, but not necessarily a computer can see. Not from the kid a computer, dig it apart and make sure that you're right. Yeah, that's easy. Looking at it backwards is easy. Seeing it to begin with is harder. Just like do either one of those. Ask AI, any one of them, if COVID and vaping had anything to do with each other. Then bring up the fact of Fort Detrick in Maryland's the containment release just prior to the vaping. Mention that just prior to the vaping, that discharge, and then it'll put the pattern together because it can see it then. Same thing with the boat and the high frequency inverters. It's thousands of other patterns, y'all. I see patterns inside of patterns and fucking inside of patterns inside of patterns. They're just there. You can't do much about them. They're just there. Is it really helpful? No, not necessarily. It's a pain in the ass half the time. I'll be honest. It doesn't mean that you're some incredibly genius level smart human being. You just see fucking patterns. That's it. That's the end of it. You just see the patterns. What you can do with that's up to you, I guess. But is the way it is. But the people that are just like to get full back to what I'm trying to get at is the fishing people from the hemp deal. Oh, I need this and I need that. And I need all the ratio. Horseshit. You don't need any of that if you're actually fucking working with it. All you need to know is see what I've done and then modify whatever you're doing to make it stronger. So do I believe your horseshit? No, I don't. Not a little bit, not at all. You can't present it in some way that'll make it believable for me. You got your initial material stacks, modify them. If this ain't working, we'll move something else. I mean, if you're just completely fucking clueless, go be an accountant or something. That's probably your calling. Um, yeah. All I got to say when it comes to the college educated people is sometimes education is wasted on the wealthy, and it's kept away from the people that could actually do a lot of benefit for the world. It's like billionaires and their money. They don't need to reinvent the pointy to reinvent the best way to blow up a pointy firecracker. That we have tested this shit out. It doesn't fucking work in physics. We need to have a new way to get shit into space. Vacuum vessels in toroidal drive. Is it possible? Yeah, it is. But do they want to give up their deal? No. No, because it would mean that we would have to tax them again, like at 75, 80%, put everything into research and development and actually make something that worked. They don't want something that works. They just don't want to be responsible. There's a difference. Um, that's it. And to starve the world so a mentally ill, greedy human being can be just a tiny bit greedier or a tiny bit richer or whatever. Um, yeah, that's assaulting to me. I mean, it's like mentally assaulting to me. Um, it's kind of like listening to people try to support Trump. He's a felon, a convicted 34-time felon. He's a rapist. He's an alleged pedophile. He's a lifelong business failure. Every business he's ever had, he is absolutely catastrophically sunk, except for grifting from stupid people. Now, he has made like $7 billion grifting from stupid people. Whether it's on their superstitions of the Bible, he has that covered. Whether you want to have gold-plated tennis shoes, got you covered. If you want to have a phone that you will never get, even says in the fine print, we don't even have a timeline for this. He can cover you however you want to give up your money to the con man. He has you covered. He's your cult leader. I get that. It doesn't make him smart. It just makes him your cult leader. He's the leader of the cult. That's all that it makes that. And I can't take a defense. I can't. Do I care how people think if they're one way or another? No, I don't. Because I get a lot of that shit. Oh, you're a Democrat. No, I'm actually, I would lean Republican. I'm a conservative constitutionalist. I'm not a Democrat by any means, by like a long shot. My dad was, but I know I'm not, is what I'm trying to get at. But do I believe that we can continue on doing the same thing and expecting a different result? No, that's literally the fucking definition of insanity. We cannot continue on doing exactly what we've been doing and expect a different result. The year that we stopped taxing millionaires at 70%, our deficit went through the roof. We didn't have a national deficit. We can no longer afford billionaire welfare. That's just pure and simple. And the whole bad part is they may whine and bitch and carry on and throw fucking fits and all the rest of they're going to do because they're going to do that anyways. But it's not going to change a fucking thing. And when it all crashes down, they're going to hop on their little jet and they're going to fly somewhere else where they can fuck up and be a parasite. But Musk is already getting ahead of that. Hell, he's already made himself a parasite in France. The last I heard, he had like arrest warrants or whatever. He's not welcome in all of the EU. You can only be a fuck up for so long. There's a cost to being an international social parasite. that comes at a cost. It's not for nothing is for free. Everything has a cost, and numbers don't lie. Most real thing both of my parents have ever taught me. All right, y'all. We'll talk to you then. Bye.